In today's news, self-determination should be the decision of the OTs and not the UK government, says UK MPs. Thanksgiving service for the 5th House of Assembly to be held. World Forum widens vision to reimagine education in the Virgin Islands. Little Hill Stories book launch. And next population and housing census begins on June 15th. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of 284 News. It is Thursday, May 11th, 2023. I'm Ron Grant bringing you the latest out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you all so much for joining us. A happy Thursday is wished to each and every one of you. Beginning our newscast, members of the Parliament within the United Kingdom, that is, have voiced their concerns regarding self-determination and have taken the stern position that overseas territories should be at the helm of the decision-making process when it comes to deciding on self-determination. The views were shared during a debate in the House of Commons on Thursday, May 11th, as members discussed a motion entitled Future of Overseas Territories. Member of Parliament Alicia Kearns moved the motion and said that the UK government should not blindly accept the status quo, but instead challenge itself to provide the best possible support for what each of the OTs wants for themselves.
Now, whilst overseas territories choose to remain part of our global family, that does not mean that we should blindly accept the status quo. We should challenge ourselves to provide the best possible support to their individual hopes and needs and strive to support them to achieve. We should embed engagement across government directly with overseas territories, rather than relying on all manners of priorities to be dealt with through the Foreign Office as some sort of arbiter. There is widespread frustration about just how difficult it is to engage in either the most basic of dialogue with government departments. And surely, given our belief in self-determination, it is only right that overseas territories make their own case to government departments rather than relying on the Foreign Office to act as messengers. They make their own case best when their voices are heard. This will also help tackle any lingering belief in paternalistic governance. And the Foreign Affairs Committee itself made this recommendation in 2019 because neither their territories nor their citizens are foreign, and therefore it is fundamentally at odds to have them supported through the Foreign Office.
The Conservative member also called on the UK government to drastically change how OTs are treated and to update the policies guiding strategy, which she said are presently decades old.
So that can I therefore urge the government to drastically change how OTs are treated, and that either starts with beefing up the powers of the Overseas Directorate so it's not seen as some sort of backwater. I apologise to the civil servants present in the chamber today, and make sure that it has the powers it is needed and the Minister gives it sufficient focus it required. I would also urge the Minister to have all government departments update their strategies on the OTs, because not one of them is less than a decade old. That cannot be right. We need to update the individual strategies.
Also sharing a similar view on the subject was Conservative MP Sir Robert Neal, who said the onus is on the people of the respective overseas territories to decide on their future.
It is entirely for the people of the overseas territories to determine their relationship in terms of representation here. Any inquiry may be interesting and useful, but it would be presumptuous of any of us to try and suggest to any overseas territory what form their representation and relationship should take. In fact, actually, it will go slightly contrary to the suggestion of self-determination. It's for them to initiate. It's for us, as their friends and family, to support them in all the choices that they make. One of the choices that Gibraltar made was A, to be British, B, to accept a referendum which they had voted overwhelmingly against, because Gibraltar's relationship with the European Union, because of a land border, is inevitably different. And 96% of the voters of Gibraltar would have preferred that we had remained in the European Union. But the Gibraltarians, as part of the British family, went with the democratic vote of the British family, and we owe them in consequence of that.
Meanwhile, Labour MP Lloyd Moyle said the present manner of how the various UK government departments treat overseas territories is wrong, and recommended the establishment of a department specific to overseas territories with a Secretary of State designed for each of the overseas territories.
Currently, the Crown dependencies and the overseas territories are treated differently by different departments, one by the Department of Justice, one by the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office. I think that is wrong. I don't think it is right today, and in my view, we should have a department that looks after the overseas territories, the Crown dependencies, with a Secretary of State. Now, that might sound like a big ask, but we have Secretaries of State for Northern Ireland, a Secretary of State for Wales, a Secretary of State for Scotland, despite the fact that those nations and regions of the United Kingdom effectively govern themselves and do their tasks, and those Secretaries of State are to ensure that the wheels are oiled in their negotiations and deliberations with the British government. And the overseas territories and Crown dependencies, in my view, deserve nothing less, and that is what we should offer them.
Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honourable Natalie D. Whitley, has said that it is necessary for the people of the Virgin Islands to reflect and express gratitude to God for his favour during this particular season. Premier Whitley said that it is customary that following every general elections, a service of thanksgiving is held to express gratitude for success at the polls and to seek God's guidance for the term of office ahead. He has therefore invited the residents of the Virgin Islands to this year's service for the 5th House of Assembly to be held under the theme, Guide Us with Your Grace. The service will be held at the Rotown Methodist Church on Tuesday, May 16th at 5:30 p.m. Premier Whitley said, and I quote, "We are asking for God's continued guidance as we seek to effectively serve the people of the Virgin Islands for the next term in office, despite the challenges that may arise." He also added, and I quote, "It is important that we set aside some time as people to ask the Lord to continue to intervene on our behalf. While we acknowledge his unwavering goodness towards us, the last few years have been difficult, but I am confident," he said, "that we will not only overcome, but we will prosper and thrive." The Thanksgiving service will see a coming together of pastors, church leaders, and singers from across the various denominations within the Christian community. The public is invited to join the members of the House of Assembly through collective prayer, praise, and supplication as the government of the Virgin Islands seeks God's direction, they say, in the future political, socio-economic, and spiritual trajectory of the territory. And continuing on the local scene, Minister for Education, Youth Affairs and Sports, the Honourable Cherie B. De Castro, has said that the Day 2 of the Education World Forum has energized her delegation and bolstered and widened their vision to reimagine education within the Virgin Islands. Honourable De Castro is in the United Kingdom attending the Education World Forum 2023 in London, United Kingdom, which provides an opportunity for education ministers, pioneers, policymakers, as well as experts to come together and deepen international ties through their passion for education. Honourable De Castro said Day 2's sessions highlighted the importance of foundational learning and developing and implementing policies to support it. She said, and I quote, "Changing international trends in education by identifying what must change in order to develop stronger, bolder, and better education and learning opportunities was the focus of the session on sustainability." The Minister for Education said that there were sessions on how appropriate balances can be maintained between the students' well-being and grades, between central and individual goals, between dependency for direction and distributed direction making. The sessions also touch on how there can be a balance between compliant innovation and creativity among learners, teachers, students, faculty, and leaders. Now, viewers, Honourable De Castro is being accompanied at the forum by Permanent Secretary Dr. Marcia Potter and Deputy Chief Education Officer Mrs. Orlandit Crabb. The Education World Forum 2023 is being held from May 5th to the 12th under the theme Nurturing Learning Culture, Building Resilience and Promoting Sustainability for Stronger, Bolder, Better Education by Design. Meanwhile, Honorable Luce Smith is serving and performing the functions of Minister of Education, Youth Affairs and Sports in Minister De Castro's absence. Now, the appointment, of course, is in accordance with Section 52 of the Virgin Islands Constitution Order. Viewers, when we return, we have more local news. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Looks like Johnny's ex-girlfriend finally found my car.
You've got CG. You're fine. I'll never forget the year those monkeys stole my car. They drove it over a cliff, burned the seats, and carved the words pineapple banana smoothie into all the doors. And that was after they used it for the bank heist. I don't blame them. It's their favorite smoothie, and I refuse to share the recipe.
No deductible for theft, malicious damage, and more. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Andy, turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world. CG Insurance. Good like that.
There goes my new car. Guess I'm back on my bike.
Your bike? CG offers new car replacement. Remember my monster truck days? Well, one night I attempted a 50-foot pogo double backflip. I landed it and went to karaoke. It wasn't until afterward that my car got hit by that fisherman. He gave me some great mahi-mahi, though. Anyway, they paid fast and got me in a new car. Now call a cab. I want you to meet my alpaca guy.
New car replacement for the first year of ownership. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Virgin Islands author and playwright and long-standing educator of 30-plus years, Mrs. Janice George Harris, on Saturday, May 6th, launched Little Hill Stories, a book which is a journey to the 1950s and the boyhood days of her father, Mr. Roosevelt George, in North Sound, Virgin Gorda. The launch was held at the very same hill in North Sound, a traditional village of Virgin Gorda, in the Methodist churchyard. Present were family, friends, Deputy Director of Culture, Mrs. Ann Leonard, 9th District Representative and Minister for Health, the Honorable Vincent O Whitley, along with many senior citizens who could relate to the stories and the time in the book. Author Janice George Harris addressed the audience at the launch.
This day will go down in history for a lot of great things, because on this day a lot of great people are being honored, and I'm so thankful that my father, although he may not be a king in my home, in my family, he is the king of my home, and this is our way of crowning him with all love. So thank you, Daddy. Thank you so much for the stories you taught us. Thank you for the life that you have given to us. We would not be who we are, and it's just not me alone, but I'm speaking for my siblings as well. We stand on your shoulders, and so this book is just a symbol of our love for you, and I'm so very honored that I was able to write your stories down while you are able to enjoy them and hear them and have the fun of reading it. Okay, so thank you, and thank you, Lord God, for everything, because it could have been otherwise. I brought us to this location, as my cousin said, because this is where my aunties, uncles, and my dad, they played, they ran the goats, they got suckers in their feet, they went stealing mangoes and different things off the trees. Yes. Yes, you learned to swim down there. You went catching fish right down there. The point out there for fish. It's okay. This is our launch, so it's okay if the audience responds. This is the North Sound flavor. Okay? We are all family. It's unique. So it's okay if we reply and respond, okay?
Her father and honoree, Mr. Roosevelt George, also addressed the audience and shared his joy in having to be able to be at this occasion.
It is so good to see so many of you, and particularly my immediate family. When you stop to consider what happened in relation to this book, when you start to read it, make sure you eat something first, okay? Because you ain't going to move from there in a good while, okay? So make sure you eat something first. It's my pleasure to see all of you. I feel honored because I never expected so much. But I'm thankful for everything and all of you being here to share with us who did the book. And I just want to continue to thank you all for everything that you are doing for us. Please read the book, but please eat something first, and please sit down and relax and read the book, okay?
Deputy Director of Culture, Ms. Leonard, also welcomed persons to the book launch and said her department continues to celebrate local authors and the variety of subject areas that are being written about.
I'd like to acknowledge the team from GIS, Ms. Sanjay Greenwich and Mr. Franklin Skerritt. And I must say a great thank you to our local artist, Cedric Turnbull, who is here this afternoon. And you must take a few minutes while you're here to actually see his fine works. So thank you very much, and congratulations again, and thank you everyone for being here this afternoon.
Ms. Leonard also said that the island of Virgin Gorda continues to be featured internationally for its natural beauty and its people, and Little Hope Stories has added positively to its image. Knight District Representative and Minister for Health, the Honorable Vincent O Whitley, stressed the importance of such books and encouraged Harris to write another, as well as others in the community, to document the rich history of our seniors.
These books are going to capture a history of times long forgotten and people long forgotten. And we should not let our family and friends' memories and contributions go to waste. We should not. We should know about Blind Man Evans. We should know about Obadiah, who survived the sinking of the 1926 Fancy Me. We should know about all these persons and all these stories, the Orange Leaf and the Chocolate Queen and the Maybe and the Macy and all these things. Jumbi Rock, Joseph Rock, Leverick Well, and the Quaker School. A lot of these things are already lost to us. And even the old mill, Captain, what's his name now? The old mill up there. Anybody know the old mill? Captain somebody. It's gone from me now and all. But it's an old mill up around Garda Peak area. It goes back to probably 1600s. It is still there. Captain Bun Old Mill. Just came back to me. Many of us even know that mill exists today. And it's an old indigo mill. And it's still there and it's in pretty good shape. I was there a few years ago. So by gathering the bits and pieces of stories from those who can remember these things still, and even the foods we used to eat and the way we used to prepare these foods and all the flour bag clothes we used to make and the slates, and I can go on and on.
The book, which is filled with adventure, mischief, classroom and church experiences, Jumbi frights, and the chores of boys and girls, come alive in the chapters like The Lesson, Sunday's Sin, Truant, and Water Woes. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man, to take care of me.
How may I assist you? Listen, you want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up or?
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Andy, turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. On to the final leg of our newscast. The Facilities Management Unit in the Government of the Virgin Islands has been upgraded to a full-fledged department as the Government of the Virgin Islands works towards the transformation vision of the public service. Minister for Communications and Works, the Honorable Kai M. Reimer, said Cabinet accepted the Ministry's Reorganization Plan 2018 as part of the Public Service Transformation Plan. This is in line with the government's objective to streamline services to drive efficiency and effectiveness while focusing on service delivery to customers. Honorable Reimer said the objective of the reconstructing of the Facilities Management Unit to a department included, but was not limited to, the development, implementation, and increased accountability for the operational processing of building and vehicle maintenance, implement preventative maintenance practices exceeding the expected life cycle of the government facilities, enhance maintenance management processes, review custodial services, reorganize security and custodial work to ensure adequate coverage and productivity. Meanwhile, Director of the Department of Facilities Management, Mr. Ariel Donovan, said the unit was established in 1994 for the sole purpose of managing the upkeep and security of the Central Administration Complex, now renamed the Ralph T. O'Neill Administration Complex. Mr. Donovan said the destruction sustained to the administration complex from the Hurricanes Irma and Maria of 2017 led to the relocation of ministries and departments and has expanded the role of the unit. Director Donovan added, and I quote, "The department maintains and secures most government-owned and leased properties. Other additional responsibilities include, of course, the government's vehicles fleet management, the courier and chauffeur service, the city park and ride shuttle service." The Department of Facilities Management is saying they are dedicated to building and maintaining a safe, secure, and clean working environment for the occupants and visitors of the government-owned and leased properties, while establishing and enforcing safety guidelines and procedures in compliance with building and safety legislations. Director of the Central Statistics Office, Mr. Raymond Phillips, has indicated that preparations are underway to administer the population and housing census from June 15th. Mr. Phillips said after some unavoidable delays imposed by the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Central Statistics Office will commence the 2023 population and housing census in June that was initially scheduled for 2020. This exercise is scheduled to be complete in December 2023. Phillips said that the information that will be generated from the census will reveal the social and economic conditions of the population and, by extension, the state of affairs within the Virgin Islands. The information will also contribute to assessing the population's needs and ultimately aid in resolving national challenges. Director said, and I quote, "It is critical for the public to offer its full participation and cooperation to ensure the effectiveness of this initiative, which will have a positive impact," he said, "on all persons who reside and are visitors to the Virgin Islands." Mr. Phillips, while explaining the data collection process, stated, and I quote, "The census collects data on a host of both housing and personal characteristics, including ownership status, power supply, water supply, amenities, country, disability, education, health, and employment." The director also added, "It is therefore the most comprehensive database the CSO has available. Information produced from this database is used by a wide cross-section of stakeholders, including the government, business, universities, research, and students." The public is again reminded that the Central Statistics Office say they are committed to operating with the highest level of confidentiality that is stipulated in the Statistical Act. The theme of this year's census is "Participation from you and me is the key" for Census 2023. The population and housing census will be conducted as part of a collaborative effort with the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States and the Caribbean Community. Viewers, that is it for today's News Roundup. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to keep updates at tweet4media.com, and of course, like us on Facebook at Tweet4Media and Tweet4BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. Do have a beautiful rest of the day. A happy Thursday to each and every one of you. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Yo, everything good there?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this thing like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Looks like Johnny's ex-girlfriend finally found my car.
You've got CG. You're fine. I'll never forget the year those monkeys stole my car. They drove it over a cliff, burned the seats, and carved the words "pineapple banana smoothie" into all the doors. And that was after they used it for the bank heist. I don't blame them. It's their favorite smoothie, and I refuse to share the recipe.
No deductible for theft, malicious damage, and more. CG Insurance. Good like that.
There goes my new car. Guess I'm back on my bike.
Your bike? CG offers new car replacement. Remember my monster truck days? Well, one night I attempted a 50-foot pogo double backflip. I landed it and went to karaoke. It wasn't until afterward that my car got hit by that fisherman. He gave me some great mahi-mahi, though. Anyway, they paid fast and got me in a new car. Now call a cab. I want you to meet my alpaca guy.
New car replacement for the first year of ownership. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Andy, turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world.